Now, remember, as always, we have to say this. We are not making stock recommendations. We're just having fun doing a cute quarterback stock comparison. This is all for just fun learning and seeing where it goes.
Welcome to the Money Huddle, a podcast that discusses financial topics for families, retirees, and small business owners. Hosted by Michael Baker and Ross Marinell. All opinions expressed by Michael and Ross or any podcast guests are solely their own opinions and may not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. The podcast recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Clients of Advisory Alpha may maintain positions in securities discussed on the program.
Welcome back to the Money Huddle. My name is Michael Baker, and I'm here with Ross Marinell. And Ross, I think it's time. We've waited one season. We sat out COVID season of 2020, but it's time to bring back quarterbacks or stocks. So for everyone that reached out and told us that you liked that episode, we wanted to bring it back. Ross is sitting here. He's got his Peyton Manning jersey on. He is ready to go. So Ross, without further ado, take us away.
I'm feeling fired up today. This is one of my favorite podcast days. I have this circled on my calendar because I love the if quarterbacks were stocks comparison. We get to comb through a handful of NFL quarterbacks, find their doppelganger stock, and compare it to them. And some of these, Michael, I may have to convince you of this year.
Okay,
but
I'm ready.
Let's recap, everybody. So the last time we did this, let me just do a quick recap on some of the quarterbacks we compared the last time.
So remind everyone, we skipped COVID year because last year we were just excited to have a football season. Like they could have been playing like the third string offense and defense out there, but the fact that there was something on TV to watch while we were all isolated in our homes was phenomenal. So, not
to mention, last year we had a lot of topics to cover. I mean, we had the Secure Act, the CARES Act, COVID recovery, presidential election. So there was rule changes, political changes. It was a big crammed year for things to talk about on this podcast. But you know what? We're settled in. We're heading into what feels like a full football season, and I'm ready to roll. So the last time we did this, Michael, we compared the great Tom Brady to Microsoft. Stellar long-term returns. It's a little archaic, but it still works. I feel like we hit a home run on that one.
Tom Brady,
we
Microsoft,
compared Tom Brady. Come on, that one was pristine. And he wins a Super Bowl last year.
He did. He won a Super Bowl.
So then we go to Russell Wilson, compared him to Amazon. So a little Seattle connection. Russ gets cooking. He's hard to beat. Amazon, when they're cooking, boy, they have some components of their business that are just really stellar. AWS, sure. They have some great things. Then we compared Lamar Jackson to Disney. Magical, must-watch TV. Can't really argue with that one. Looking back, I compared Baker Mayfield. You had a little issue with this to Beyond Meat. I said he's all sizzle, no steak. And I'm going to take a little victory lap on my comparison to Baker Mayfield.
You are? You're going to take a victory lap?
Listen, in 2020, Teddy Bridgewater threw more yards than Baker Mayfield. I'm taking a victory lap.
Hey.
That boy had more commercials than any other player in the league.
Listen,
you know it's true. You know it's true.
I can't hate on the boy for filming as many commercials as he can. He's a quarterback in Cleveland. You got to bank that. You got to get the bag when you can. But he did, dude. Cleveland went to the playoffs. They were in the playoffs.
Listen, I'm not arguing that they don't have a good team.
Now he might be handing the ball. He might be handing the ball to Nick Chubb, but that's a playoff team right now. That's a playoff team.
In 2020, he threw 3,563 yards. He beat out Daniel Jones, okay? Oh, Teddy Bridgewater threw more yards than him. He's all sizzle, no steak. But I'm going to take a slight victory lap on that.
Pause. So Teddy B had more yards, but how many attempts did Teddy B have last year? I'm pretty sure I heard the other night during the Panthers game that the Panthers, he led the league in attempts last year.
I don't know if that's true or not, but no.
Okay. But
He had 492 attempts. Baker had 486. So, all right.
Okay.
Then we
Keep
went
on
on to another one I had to convince you of. I'm taking
Okay.
a full victory lap on this one. This was Jared Goff. I compared him to WeWork. Contractual bust. WeWork, long-term debt obligations, short-term customer revenue. That was an asset liability mismatch, and I think we could say the same for our friend Jarrett.
he got sent to Detroit.
But we had one big bust, one big miss, and that was, listen, our hometown hero at the time, Cam Newton. We compared him to Netflix. We thought there's rising competition, that there was streaming service competitors that were going to be nipping at their heels. But Netflix is still holding strong, and I'm sorry, our friend Cam was just cut the other day from the New England Patriots. And so we missed on that one, but I
Cam
feel like
doesn't
we
have a
hit the
job
others
right
pretty
now.
close.
Yeah, I
He
can't
will.
really say Netflix is out there scraping the bottom of the barrel. They're still running strong.
Netflix made news just the other day, I think, securing Seinfeld. So I'm sure they'll get some eyeballs on the screen. They had a huge run with The Office, if you remember, Netflix when they secured that package. So I'm sure they're hoping for more of the same. So unfortunately, we missed one, but I've got 5 new comparisons. I'm ready
All
to go.
right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's rock. So here we are. Quarterbacks are stocks. 2021 NFL football season. Let's go.
All right. So the first one, some big moves in the NFL this year, and some big moves in the stock market. So we have longtime great Matthew Stafford, Detroit quarterback for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
He throws big yards and has a big arm,
He's
but he
tough
just
too.
has not really gotten the results.
He's
It's
in
been
Detroit,
a little bit
man.
of a letdown. But he was in Detroit. Now he's newly acquired by the Los Angeles Rams. My friend, he is Ford.
He's Ford.
Listen, he is Ford. I'm going to
the
sell you on
Detroit
this,
connection
okay?
too. The Detroit connection.
Come
Okay.
Come on. Detroit connection. Ford they have sold millions of vehicles. The F-150 is the most popular truck in the world. They have a new lineup. They have this
And
new
they
F-150
just gotta upgrade.
Lightning.
Yeah. Is that what it is? The Lightning.
It's the Lightning. That's the electric vehicle.
Okay.
The Ford F-150 Lightning, getting in pretty aggressively into the electric vehicle space.
Okay.
They've got the new Ford Bronco. Listen, Ford's got they've got some things coming. They've got some inventory. They've got some product to put out there. And
I
guess
looked
what?
at,
Matthew Stafford has some new players to throw the football to.
I looked at that. I actually walked past a brand new Bronco today. I think it was one of the big ones. It's pretty sharp.
I'm telling you. So
all right. So
it's
Matt.
sharp, it's
So
sharp.
Stafford
So
gets
there
an
we go.
upgrade. Stafford gets an upgrade, and Ford is getting some upgrades as well. All right.
That's
I like
right. And so the market comparison, 10-year return of Ford. So Ford stock over the last 10 years has returned 5.95%. It's underperformed the S&P 500 pretty dramatically. Over that time frame, the S&P 500 has generated 16.48%. I would say that's fairly emblematic of Matthew Stafford's career. Excellent individual player, throws tremendous amounts of yards, but just hasn't had the overall success and return that you would have hoped. Cool?
All right, I can
All right.
I can roll with that.
So there's number
We'll
one.
see if his new team allows him to have a breakout year.
And we'll see if the Ford Lightning can catch up with Matthew Stafford this year. Let's go.
All right.
All right. So number 2, we have Big Ben Roethlisberger,
Okay.
career-long Pittsburgh Steeler. He's nearing the end of his career. He seems rejuvenated for one more final push. But let's be honest. His best years are behind him. He was a huge star in the league 10, 12 years ago.
Okay.
My friend, He is Exxon.
Delisted.
Exxon is a declining market cap. It used to be the big kid on the block. But look, it's a different era now. Mobile quarterbacks are the new breed. We want to see players run, escape, be elusive in the pocket. Ben was the big statue, took the hits, stood tall, and threw the ball down the field. But that's the old way to play the game. These young players like Kyler Murray, like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, they're using their feet to escape, Trevor Lawrence. And so, look, the new companies that are emerging are probably surpassing what Exxon was doing. However, is there one more final push on the doorstep?
I'm going to say negative. I think Ben's a little long in the tooth, buddy.
Well,
I think he's a little long in the tooth, and those people that have to play him up in the AFC in their division, I don't think mind it at all that Pittsburgh continues to cling to that. That's just my take on
the
it.
market comparison, Exxon, after a very disappointing, dismal returns of the last recent years, has had a 1-year return of 46%. So, Can Ben give us some magic one more year?
You're banking on a magical season for Pittsburgh, huh?
Yes, I am. Hey, and I'm playing to those. Listen, everybody loves Pittsburgh, so I'm getting a little Pittsburgh love out there to our listeners.
Okay.
All right, here we go. This one, listen, to our Alabama fans, this one might sting a little bit. So number 3 quarterback comparison is Tua Tagovailoa, who is 2020 drafted 5th in the 2020 draft. Behind, the only quarterback he fell behind was Joe Burrow. He got drafted ahead of Justin Herbert, who had a fantastic season. Tua had a big hype coming out of Alabama. You remember the one game where he came in in the second half, replaced Jalen Hurts, brought Alabama back to win a national championship.
Right.
He was potential going to be the first number 1 draft pick, but he goes very high.
He did break his hip,
2020
though.
Draft.
He did break his hip.
So he's got injured, but he played most of last season. So anyway, I was looking at IPOs that he might represent from 2020, and I came up with Airbnb. Tua is Airbnb. Listen, we've all stayed at an Airbnb at this point. But listen, people weren't traveling last year. The ball wasn't traveling in Miami either. We weren't getting the ball downfield in Miami last year. Tua struggled to throw the ball deep. Guess what? Airbnb struggled to get people to travel to their properties. And in 2020, Airbnb's return was only 1.44%. Fits nicely with Tua's 1,800 passing yards last year. So,
I gotcha.
Big name, very flat first year, disappointing. We'll see what happens.
So you're thinking, hey, if we can get through the different variants, people start traveling again, the upside is still there for Airbnb.
I think so.
Is that what you're saying? Okay. All right.
I think so.
Tua still has upside, just a little slow out of the gate.
Now, remember, as always, we have to say this. We are not making stock recommendations. We're just having fun doing a cute quarterback stock comparison. This is all for just fun, learning, and
Yeah, absolutely. Don't be a knucklehead. We're not out here giving it stock advice based on NFL quarterbacks.
Right. Oh. Okay. All right. Number 4. I couldn't believe, going back to the original podcast that we did, that we somehow missed Patrick Mahomes.
I don't think we found something at the time that we really liked for him.
So what we know now, he is a superstar. He is already a world-class quarterback. He is in the elite. It's only been a short few years, but he is a Super Bowl winner. He received a monster contract.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Patrick Mahomes is Facebook.
Oh, why do you do that to him?
Face.
Why do you do that to him?
I mean,
Oh,
everyone talks bad about Facebook and then
I know.
uses
But
it.
it's like, well, what?
I mean, there's 2 billion users across their platforms.
But
You
Facebook
couldn't
is
get-
like a Tina at this point. There is no alternative. You know, they're so huge and have their tentacles and everything that where could you possibly go and argue with your friends?
Exactly. How do you stop Patrick Mahomes on the football field? He can do it all. He's Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, virtual reality, all combined. Facebook is the latest entrant into the $1 trillion market cap club. That's the elite. You're running with the big boys, right? And Mahomes is in that class now of some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And you know, if he has a long enough career and wins a few more Super Bowls,
And you have
where's this?
you
Where's
have
it?
Zuckerberg. His internal catchphrase is domination. So there you go.
Move fast and break things. And domination.
All right.
There we go. So Facebook 3-year return of 29.55%.
Okay.
They have a 35% profit margin. Off of that type of operating revenue is just mind blowing.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Have a
I'm
31%
not-
return on equity.
not
There we go.
my
I'm
favorite
just saying,
company,
like,
but you got to look at what the facts are, and the facts are the facts.
the facts are the facts. And so this brings us to our last one. Listen, there is no way on earth we could do a QB comparison without putting our local college hero,
Okay.
Mr. Trevor
All right,
Lawrence.
Trevor.
Clemson superstar quarterback, beloved in this area, unless you're a Gamecocks fan. Now, number 1 overall pick, consensus
For sure.
overall pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's about to embark on his first season. He is a talented, hard worker. He is ready to play. He is, so I had to pick a current year IPO. He is Coinbase.
Boom. Coinbase.
Coinbase is already a $56 billion
It's kinda
market
crazy.
cap. They are the new era of custodians focusing on decentralized finance, right? This is the next. Is this the wave? What's the long-term trajectory of these asset classes? I have no idea, but
Coinbase. All right, man. Well, it's definitely, the fact that they took it public. I mean, and there was such a huge demand for people. For those who don't know what Coinbase is, it's an online platform where you can buy and sell cryptocurrency or tokens. A lot of the big ones that you might know about are on there. Bitcoin, Ethereum, but they've added some just pure for giggles. I think like they added Dogecoin on there because
I hope they're for
for
giggles.
the demand. But obviously, they took the company public and they're planning to be around for a while. And so that's one of our major exchanges here in the United States. So I like it. I don't hate it. If you're having to use an IPO, I would say that's a solid connection right there.
Listen to this. This is just an insane stat on Coinbase. So I'm looking at Y charts here. Coinbase is now obviously there's limited data because they just came out, but their profit margin is calculated at 72% profit margin. That is, and I just glowingly talked about Facebook having about a 35% profit margin. 72% profit margin. It just tells you how much profit they can bank with their revenue. So we will see what the future holds for Coinbase. Again, not a stock recommendation. It all comes with risks. But I think what Jacksonville is hoping for is that type of return from Mr. Trevor Lawrence. And so I know a lot of our South Carolina friends will be rooting for him as well. And that is our 2021 quarterbacks with stocks. That was fun. I'm
So
glad we got to do that.
I'm
this
really
year.
surprised you didn't have something for our hometown guy, Sam Darnold, the new quarterback, the new QB1 for the Carolina Panthers. Do we
Boy,
off the cuff? What do you got for Sam Darnold?
No, I can't because I'm already my brain is fried coming up with these. I literally been pouring through stocks trying to find some great
man.
comparisons. There were a couple that we'll have to keep our eye on for next year. We still haven't pegged one for Josh Allen.
Man,
We need our friend Sam.
Josh Allen just signed. Didn't he just sign a monster deal up in Buffalo? I don't know how they're going to pay his other teammates. But Buffalo's going to be good this year. I think they're going to be good. But wow, yeah, Josh Allen, he's a stud. So, all right, well, we'll have to put him on the watch list, for this year.
Definitely.
And same for Sam Darnold. He'll have to go on the watch list as well.
No doubt. Well, if you're not a football fan and you're still listening, thank you for enduring our football conversation and giving us some grace because we do love chatting about that a little bit. But Michael, I know we're going to pivot now and move on to a couple of other topics. Why don't you fire away?
And I mean, our podcast is the Money Huddle because two of the things Ross and I talk about in the office amongst ourselves all the time are financial stuff and football and sports. So it seemed very appropriate for our podcast to be named the Money Huddle. But what I had today was an interesting article I just came across yesterday or the day before, and it was from financialplanning.com. And, one of the things that we talk about a lot, especially when we speak in public or we do any kind of public event, is we're talking about the importance of financial education and how employers especially could get in the game with their employees by helping them, giving them access or providing them with access to people like financial advisors, like someone who could come in and be a financial literacy coach, because people are hungry for financial information. And in the age of information, you don't always know if you're getting good quality information, especially if you're just turning to Google or wherever to get to information. Anyway, there was an article on financialplanning.com, and it says investors are focused on retirement savings but get little help from employers. And there was a survey. It was Financial Planning's Financial Wellness Report, where they did a survey of financial priorities for people working and employees. And of course, at the top of the list were the two that tend to stay at the top of the list. One is continuing to save for retirement, with over 65% of people saying that was their top priority, and then building up cash reserves with 56%. So easily more than half of the people responding were saying those are the top two, financial priorities. But what caught my eye was it says down here that over, I think 69%, so almost 70% of the respondents said that their employer does not offer access to a financial advisor, and the same number, 70%, said that they don't have a workplace financial literacy program. Now, for me, I'm biased, of course, because this is our field, but I also kind of feel like this is low-hanging fruit for employers to get in the game and just bring somebody in and do lunch and learns or provide their employees with access. And I think it would be a remarkable benefit. What do you think, Ross?
Well, I think if you're listening at home in the car, think about how much time you've had to spend going into your own 401k and just handpicking funds on your own. Has anyone associated with that company or that plan reached out, been proactive about doing some type of risk assessment to learn a little bit more about you to help position some of those assets inside the plan? What we typically find is that when we sit down with people who are contributing to a 401k is that they're pretty much the decision maker. And a lot of those fund selections, they've done their best. They've looked through the data to their comfort level and made some selections. The challenge is, as we know, the 401k, there is over $5 trillion in 401k assets. I saw a statistic just recently that it was a little over, it's like around $5.6 trillion. That was the number from first quarter of 2020. So it's a big chunk of someone's personal savings that is going to be a very important and crucial part of their retirement income distribution plan when they retire. And it's difficult in some cases to get some guidance on how to invest that allocation. So within the 401k, what do I do? So just think about it. Who has reached out and helped? And if the answer is nobody, then that's a situation where we would love to see somebody come in and help those plan participants get some feedback.
Right. I think, and looking at the information here, one of the things that I'm thinking about specifically is bringing in someone that would just do basic financial literacy coaching or teaching, where you could have lunch and learn events. To me, this is like such low-hanging fruit when employers are really trying to find ways to recruit and add talent, keep people and provide benefits and so forth. One of the responses here, it says that 43% said they work with a financial advisor already. Here it says nearly half, 47% of millennials. So that's the generation that people are trying to reach in so many different ways. 47% of millennials said that they would be more inclined to work with a financial advisor if their employer offered a discounted or free access to such service. So employers, this is where you can, get creative and maybe look at some local advisors or some people that you might be able to hire and bring them in and, pay for a couple of sessions or pay for a workshop or an educational event. Trust me, good financial advisors would love the opportunity to come into and speak with your employees. And you don't have to endorse, but just providing a platform where people can come in and actually get some education, because people are so hungry for that. And I saw this article and it just made me think like, wow, this is such low-hanging fruit for businesses. If you have employees, especially small business owners, where you're having to compete in a labor pool against, maybe larger employers that have better benefits or a little bit higher, more filled out benefits packages, you can say, hey, well, we have somebody here that we bring in and does financial literacy or does financial education. People aren't getting that. And so that's a huge opportunity, I think, for advisors, of course, but really for employers to, take the initiative and put somebody on that.
And I love the idea too of having somebody come in who can just, like you said, do a financial planning session. It doesn't have to be, you don't necessarily want there to be an end product sale. You just need guidance. Sometimes it's just, I just want to sit down and talk to somebody and get some structure to a financial plan.
Right. And to that point, so many people are using the tools that are available. So they are going in and using the portals with the 401k, and they are filling out it's a generic risk tolerance questionnaire, but they are doing that. They're using, financial apps. But what we're talking about is at a person, like a real life person that people could sit with and talk to and have them like tell their story and have them, learn about them as people, because, personal finance, this is a, catchphrase in our industry. Personal finance is much more personal than it is about finance. And so, having that is huge for people. And if you're an employer and you can bring that to the table, I think you're doing something pretty unique and special for your employees. It's not commonplace in the market.
Okay. Awesome. Love it. What other topics did you have for us?
One other topic I had is today is September 2nd, and September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. So get ready. There'll probably be some commercials on TV, I imagine. So many big life insurance companies sponsor college football games. I lament that every year because, I can't watch a football game anymore without seeing I'm getting lambasted with commercials, but September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. And I think that for me, insurance a lot of times just feels like I feel like it gets a bad rap, but no financial plan is complete without having appropriate insurance protection, and especially if you are a high earner. I know a lot of younger people are coming into their prime earning years where they're finally, they've got some work experience. They're finding some jobs where they're making some really great income, maybe getting some debts paid off, and they're starting to see a lot of discretionary money for them to use and save. But remember, like if you got kids, if your spouse is, not working, you need to be making sure that you have adequate life insurance protection. Not that we think we're going to run out and get eaten by a T-Rex next week, but things happen, especially coming through COVID, this pandemic, which we're still not through. I think many of us know someone who we would have never have suspected possibly got really sick with COVID. Maybe someone we know has died of COVID. And it just shows you how quickly life can turn. And so that's just an encouragement for me to get a review. If you haven't had a life insurance review, we encourage you to do that. Make sure you just have adequate protection. If you have benefits at work where they provide some type of life insurance, that's great. But does it? How does that work exactly? Does it leave when you leave the job? Do you lose the benefit? How does that transition happen? If you have old policies that you just haven't looked at in a while, make sure you pull those out. See if they're still working the way they're supposed to and giving you adequate protection. Here's a big one, Ross. Making sure your beneficiaries are correct, right? There are a lot of times, people get married, people get divorced, people have children, people have, blended families. You have, parents die, spouses pass away. There's all kinds of life transitions that may result in you having beneficiary forms that are incomplete or outdated. And so you want to make sure that, the beneficiaries are adequate, because life insurance, for the most part, is designed so that the benefits are paid out tax-free. You want to make sure that whoever you are wanting to get those funds receives those funds. So that's another great thing. And so, again, this is the end of my little infomercial on life insurance, but no financial plan is complete without having adequate insurance protection. And so that's just something to consider. If it's been a while since you've looked at your life insurance or you had a review, make sure you do that. Make sure that you're protecting the people that you care about, the people that depend on you from a financial standpoint. That's what it's there for. And so with that, what do you got to close us with?
Well, we needed that public service announcement because I had no idea this was Life Insurance Awareness Month.
There you go. It's a big deal. And you probably would know after Saturday, because I'm sure that the commercials will be airing during all the football games.
All the college football commercials.
Absolutely.
Good to catch up with you, my
Always
friend.
fun. I'm glad we got to do a real segment of. So I got to tell you something. I got to confess. I am. I have never have I ever done fantasy football, but I was talked into doing fantasy football this year. So I don't have a clue.
Oh boy, how was your draft?
It's coming.
How's your team?
Draft is coming up on Sunday, I think. So, if you want to know where my energy goes, it's not to fantasy football whatsoever. But this year, I will gladly report periodically on this podcast how my team is faring.
I would say I was proud of myself for drafting a relatively terrible fantasy football team, because it shows you that I'm not thinking about it. I'm thinking a lot more about actual work.
If you want
so that's good.
Financial advisors that are horrible at golf and don't know what on earth is going on with fantasy football, we're your guys. All right. So like that's always, awesome. If you enjoyed the podcast and if you got some comments, if you disagree with Ross as if quarterbacks were stocks.
Hey,
let us know. Shoot us a message. You can email us at themoneyhuddle@bcplanning.com. And as always, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next time.